the kid Black, he shows out whenever they're on TV, and it is amazing to see his growth over this season as the season goes on.
Greetings and salutations, and welcome to the Odd Coaches Podcast on location in Boston, Massachusetts for the Learning Forward Conference. I'm presenting there. I am your host, Dr. Keith Adams, and on today's Wind Up Wednesday edition, it rarely ends well, NBA version, our annual introduction of the net rankings. Shout out to Coach Franchise, who hates the net. And WNBA CBA negotiations update. This week, we're going to talk about housing. With us today, the one who got away, our basketball correspondent, Danny Thompson, and our favorite team leader, Mike King. Mike, what's going on? Let's get going. In the Eastern Conference, Pistons, Knicks, Raptors, Celtics, Magic, and Sixers. They are the best teams going on. Danny, what are you thinking about the East this week?
Can we show some love to Orlando? I watched that game when they played Chicago, and I got scared for a minute because I'm like, are y'all really going to let Chicago, a team that has been so inconsistent throughout this first month of the season, are y'all going to hold them off and finish off the comeback? And they did. Mind you, no Paolo Banchero, but of course, Franz Wagner is doing his thing. The kid Black, he shows out whenever they're on TV, and it is amazing to see his growth over this season as the season goes on. And then, you get your usual characters, your Suggs, Wendell Carter's playing awesome for them right now. So, I mean, outside of the usual suspects, we know what Detroit is doing. But Orlando piqued my eye this week because I saw that game and I was like, that's a good win for them. Shows that character and shows them that they can do some damage once playoff time rolls around.
All right, Mike, any thoughts on the East before we let you set the table with the West?
The Wizards have the second pick of the draft at the moment. You can drop. There's three guys. It's a good draft, though. So even when we know the Wizards are going to get the worst possible pick, they'll still get a good guy. That's the good news for the Wizards this year. No matter what, they might get screwed out of the top three because it's the Wizards, but they'll still get someone worthwhile. That's what I'm happy about for them. They need it.
We'll take it. All right, and in the West, number one with a bullet is OKC, 2 Lakers, 3 Nuggets, 4 Rockets, 5 Spurs, 6 Wolves. Hottest teams are OKC, Houston, Lakers, Spurs, and Wolves. 2, 3, 4, and 5, they all mix up, but there's no doubt about number one. Mike, talk to us about the number one team in the West as well as in the NBA.
Your team reflects your leader, and the Thunder's leader is consistent. You know exactly what you're going to get every single game. He's second all-time in 20-point. He's gotten a 20-point game in like 90-something straight. The leader's what? Wilt, who's also the third place. But you're getting 20, and 20 it sounds like not like these guys are making it seem like nothing, but 20's hard. It's hard to score 20 points when you're not playing fourth quarters also, but he is consistent and they are consistent. He plays defense and they play defense. And I look at the rest of the top 5, the Nuggets are a great offensive team like their leader, and they blow double-digit leads often because their leader doesn't play defense, doesn't give effort on the defensive end. The Nuggets don't give effort on the defensive end. Look at the Lakers. They got great offensive players that flop around, and when they don't get a whistle, it's not going to go their way. But their fans will complain about a whistle all the time, even though they got the 2 guys that shoot the most free throws. Your leader has to set the tone, and I think that's what makes the Thunder better than everybody else, is their leader. You know exactly what you're going to get, and they're the most consistent team we've had in recent memory. It's weird watching them play because I remember watching Jordan's 72 win Bulls. I was in middle school. That was must-see TV. And you just went into the games going, oh, they're going to win. That's the Thunder right now. And I think this Thunder team's better because that Jordan team was the top 3. And then you look at 4 on, it was nothing like this Thunder team. This Thunder team is the deepest team the league's ever seen.
Yeah, Danny, I hope they go for it, Danny. That's just the sickness in me. What are you thinking about the West this week, sir?
Well, for starters, I want them to go for the record. I want them to try and go 74-8. I want to see them do it. Um, let's talk about how, and I know didn't think I would ever do this. I didn't think I was going to ever think about this. I'm going to leave with the Lakers. Um, mind you, we already know what Luka's going to do. Luka's going to put up 30, can put 30, 10, and 10 in his sleep if he wants to. It's the others around him and Austin Reeves and having LeBron not focused on trying to be the man for the squad. He's just trying to fill his way in and he's coming off of this injury. You can tell he's still getting himself together after the injury. It's just I think the Lakers. I don't think they're going to top OKC. Let's get that out the way. OKC is far and beyond the best team in the league. Like that's it. That's a given. Only 3 other teams have had this type of start to the season, and I think only one of them won the title, and that was Houston. So I want to see what LA does, and I'm talking about the Lakers. I'm not talking about that dumpster fire down the street. I'm talking about the Lakers. Let's see how they finish this thing out, especially going into the NBA Cup, which, Coach, I'm proud to say, and I know it's going to make you happy, I'm actually excited to watch the NBA Cup when it comes back on when they go to Vegas. So I will be tuning in. I did not think I would be converting, but I have converted because I want to see how this turns out. So let's see. Let's focus on how the Lakers are doing as December rolls.
All right. Before we go on our story of the week, Mike, can I get you to watch the NBA Cup?
Oh yeah, because the Thunder are gonna compete. I want to see OKC Lakers. If Wemby was there, OKC Spurs would have been a great semi. But no, I'm in for it. One thing about that other dumpster fire, these other teams got to start letting the Clippers win. Because like yesterday, the Wolves beat the Clippers and they're all happy. You're just giving OKC Darren Peterson or Camp Boozer. What are you doing? Like at the end of the year, teams have to start they got to start trading with the Clippers, giving them new players to help. Because if OKC gets one of these 3 guys, league's over for like 5 to 10 years. Over. It's done.
All right. Well, fans of the show and people who work with me know one of my favorite expressions is it rarely ends well. And this week, we are really digging in on the various aspects of it rarely ends well. So what that simply means is most relationships, no matter what people think, are transactional. And once that transaction ends, the relationship ends. We'll be talking about it all week. And with the NBA, we're talking about 2 players. And we want to start off with Chris Paul. And Danny, I want to start with you. The Clippers announced that Chris Paul is no longer with the team. He is one of the greatest Clippers ever, for whatever that's worth. But apparently, his leadership style rubbed the entire organization the wrong way. And membership has its privileges when you're a member, but at 40 years old, you're no longer a member of the you get to make a claim or a say club. Danny, what do you think about the Clippers ending their relationship with Chris Paul?
First things first, you made your bed, now lie in it. You knew what you were getting when you signed him. And now you signed him, you don't like how he is, so you let him go. Congratulations. You played yourself. Because if you knew how Chris Paul was, y'all had him for years. This isn't nothing new. You knew how he was. And now the fact that, let's be real, a lot of older guys, because that's what the Clippers are, a lot of older guys on the team didn't like his leadership style. Cool. I don't like that bullshit response Lawrence Frank gave. Oh, this has nothing to do with, how we're playing. Y'all were already playing bad even before you sent him home. So what's the point of making this statement? I don't like how they did it. They just send him home the dead of night, going home. So now you have to figure out, one, what trade can you get for him? Because you can't waive him. 2, You can't trade him until the 15th. So what are you going to do with him just sitting there? Because at the time right now, you can't waive him because there aren't many teams who have roster spots available before they go over the first or second apron of the luxury tax. 2, what are you going to get for him? Not many teams are going to willing to give up high draft picks or high assets to go get a 40-year-old Chris Paul. It's not happening. So now the Clippers are stuck between a rock and a hard place. And you have, let's see, it is December 7th. You have until next week to figure it out. Because if you don't, you're stuck with him.
All right, Mike King, one, you were our team leader. That's not a joke. And a fine one at that, because you dealt with difficult personalities. When you heard about the Chris Paul situation, what did you think, sir?
Bad franchise does bad things. Like, if you don't like what he's saying because he's being honest, the play might be to listen to him. You got rid of him. What have you done since? Has that fixed anything? No, you're 0-2. So getting him out of the building didn't seem to be like the answer. Maybe the uncomfortable things he was saying because he was sick of seeing people playing like bums. Maybe he was right. Now, I'm not the biggest CP0 fan, but he knows basketball. He wants to win. He doesn't want to collect a check. That's what you think of the 40-year-old who's on the bad teams. No, he's mad.
Yes, that's Vince Carter.
He still wants to win.
That was Vince. Yeah.
Sorry about that.
So this guy's here trying to win, and you're like, nah, don't criticize me. When you get a team like that, it's not going to work. So they got this team of old guys that I guess are in all sorts of. One guy cares. I mean, Kawhi's Kawhi. Who knows what Kawhi's doing? But Harden's playing great. Kawhi's okay. They still lose every game. Maybe listen to Chris Paul.
Every game.
But I'm here for it because again, OKC is getting AJ Debance and him to the team. Like, keep it going. Let's see this tire fire. I'm in for it.
All right. Finally, in the it rarely ends well NBA version, Giannis Antetokounmpo. The Bucks are, let's just say, below 500 and call it a day. They've lost a few games of the last 10. A lot of season left, but they're not going anywhere. And Giannis has opened the door for a potential trade. And Mike, it rarely ends well. What are you thinking about with Giannis and the Bucks?
This is like a kind of a win-win situation because he got him a championship, and that's what it's about. He stayed in Milwaukee for a long time, and he was loyal to Milwaukee for a long time. And they tried to make it work, and a lot of times teams fail when they're trying to, piece things together, and they fail. They didn't put the right guys around him. They don't have any first-round picks until, 2031. So they're going to be bad, and they're going to be giving away these picks to teams. So they got to use this as an opportunity to make right for Giannis, put him where he wants to go, and get enough picks in the future to kind of have a build again. They're not building for the next 5 years. They gave away all their picks, and they're going to suck. But this should be a win-win situation. Help us be better later. We're going to help you because you got us a ring. This isn't like the Chris Paul. This is the Bucks should do whatever where do you want to go? Give us three spots. We're going to put you in one of them. The end.
All right, Danny, it's Giannis. Don't you want to see him be Dirk? Don't you want to see him be Wade? Don't you want to see him be Kobe? What are you thinking about Giannis and the Bucks?
The guy who grew up watching basketball in the early 2000s would love that to happen. I would love for him to stay in Milwaukee. But the guy who is now 30-something years old and realizes that this is a business at the end of the day, man, you're going to be in business for yourself. And right now, being in business for yourself is not being good in the location you are. It's time to go. Giannis has done everything he can to bring Milwaukee back to prominence. And he did. Like you said, he got him a championship. We were all fans of him driving up to the Chick-fil-A drive-thru and asked for a 50-piece nugget after the championship. He did what he was supposed to do. He got them there. I think it's time for Milwaukee to return the favor. You like Mike said, you have done everything you can for us. You've gotten us the ring. You've gotten us to where we can be. We were in championship window forever for your time being here. Where do you want to go? Now, the question is, where is he going to go and what are they going to get? Because you can get whatever you want just trading the player because you're not trading assets. Like Mike said, they don't have a first-round pick till the 2031, which is insane because they dumped everything off when they were getting rid of Chris Middleton, when they were getting rid of Drew Holiday. They don't have...
Got an idea. All right. Hear me out, Mike. I want you to respond to me first. You know Giannis doesn't go anywhere by himself. And he's got a little bit of salary that's attached with him that can make some of these trades work, i.e., his brothers. Mike, do you make a deal for the Antetokounmpos? Because they're a sitcom and they're coming with you.
Oh, which team? OKC?
No.
I don't want that at all.
God, no. I'm talking about the Heat.
I mean, he could be good. The two teams that give the best deal, though, are the Spurs and OKC. That's who can give you player pick, and young players at that. OKC, I don't want it. I'm not touching the money at 22-1. Even though we could even make an offer and keep our big three. That's how crazy it is. And we can make the best offer and say, you're not getting Chet, you're not getting J-Dub, and we can give you the best offer of anybody. I'm still not doing it because I look at these picks as like, it's about the money. You need the future cheap contracts. But the Spurs, imagine Giannis and Wemby, and you just have to give up either Harper or Castle and one of the other young guys, couple picks. Giannis and Wemby together, it's must-see TV. So for the NBA standpoint, and you put them against OKC in the Western Conference Finals, that's a lot more fun than watching. I mean, Jokic.
I need somebody in the East.
It's not fun.
Go ahead, Danny. What are you thinking?
I mean, if you go to Miami, you're in the same situation you were in Milwaukee. Not a good look. Okay, I agree with Mike. OKC and San Antonio are the only teams that are viable enough to make this type of pick. The only thing I don't like for the Spurs is you have to give up either Castle or Harper. And more than likely, you're probably going to give up Castle. And I don't know if necessarily I would want that for the Spurs because, again, you're getting rid of that young core. But with the Spurs, it works out because, like you said, put Wemby and Giannis together. It's must-see TV off the top. Then again, you also remember they still got De'Aaron Fox. So they would have a solid core.
Vessel? Was it Vessel? Vasily?
Yeah, Vessel and Vessel is still there. And Vessel's been playing lights out with keeping Castle being out.
Yep.
So if you can put that together, if you can swing some sort of package, and the thing about it is, and I just thought about this, you mentioned a Vassell, the Bucks might ask for Vassell because of how he's playing right now. So it's how, if the Spurs decide to make this move, it's all in a matter of how are they willing to get rid of one of their young pieces. Do you get rid of Stephen Castle? Do you get rid of Vassell? Do you get rid of Harper? It's almost like you pick and choose which one you are willing to let go in order to go get Giannis, who's on his multi-year deal. So you would have him for a few years. You would have De'Aaron Fox for a few years. You would have Wemby on his rookie deal still until he gets paid, unless they give him that the team option for his fifth year in his rookie deal. So it weighs out well for the Spurs. It weighs out well for OKC. It's just a matter of what part of your young core or your young talent are you willing to let go to go get Giannis.
All right. So fans, in segment 2, we'll do our annual introduction of the net rankings. So everybody, including my tag team partner, Coach Franchise, can be pissed off. We'll be right back on the Odd Coaches Podcast. Hi, everyone. Dr. Keith Adams here. And for over 30 years, I've dedicated my life to helping student athletes succeed, not just on the fields and the courts, but in the classroom and beyond. And that's why I founded the CKA Save Project. The CKA Save Project understands that finding the balance between academics and athletics is crucial for long-term success. That's why the CKA Save Project offers a range of programs, including personalized consulting, mentorship, and coming in 2027, our innovative Gap Year Basketball Academy designed to assist both young men and women reach their full potential both on and off the court. I'm incredibly excited to announce that the CKA Save Project is now partnering with the Cascade Sports Network. This partnership will allow us the opportunity to amplify our message and reach even more student athletes through the Odd Coaches podcast and other exciting initiatives. Join the CKA Save Project and the Cascade Sports Network as we empower the next generation of student athletes. Visit CKA on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org to learn more. Let's work together to find the balance and help unlock your potential. Welcome back to the Odd Coaches Podcast. It's segment 2. Here is our annual introduction to the net rankings. The first official release of the net rankings took place last week, and the net rankings are a ranking system utilized by the NCAA as a sorting tool for NCAA tournament selection that factors winning percentage, game results, strength of schedule, game location, wins and losses, quality and team efficiency, and the books are already cooked. So see, the net replaced the RPI as the official selection committee criteria prior to the 2018-2019 season. It's a results and predictive based metric, and you got to try to get into the top 10 to kind of get the best way to do it. And if you've looked at the tournament the last few years, it has been a very good predictive indicator. So this is the first that we're going to introduce our net rankings. So as of this week going in, Michigan's number 1, Gonzaga's number 2, Duke is number 3, Purdue is number 4, not very long after that loss yesterday, and Vanderbilt's number 5. And in terms of mid-majors, St. Mary's from the WCC is 27. Yale is 32 from the Ivies. St. Louis is 34 from the A10. Santa Clara is 35 from the WCC, and Tulsa is 38 from the American. So, Danny, I'm going to start with you. We have returned now to top-heavy men's basketball. Last year's tourney, which many people complained about because there were too many good teams, were all ones at the Final Four, and man, not a lot of upsets. Mid-majors, as you see, are going to be locked out based on the net rankings. How do we feel about this, Danny, as a former mid-major player?
As a former mid-major player, I don't like it. And mainly reason I don't like it is because these bigger schools are not scheduling these mid-major conferences for these regular season games anymore. It's not happening. Because even with the net rankings, I don't agree with it off the top. Because first things first, I pulled it up, and the first thing that popped up in my mind is St. John's is 16th in the net rankings with a lovely record of 4-3. How in God's name can you sit there, bump the metrics? I'm looking at play on the court. How in the blue hell, as a people's chant would say back in the day, can you put a team that's 4-3, and I'm looking at their numbers right now. They're 1-2 on a neutral site. Yeah, they're 3-1 at home. Whoop-de-doo. But you're 0-3 in quad 1 wins. And the last time I checked, getting into the tournament, you need a good quad 1 record. And right now, they suck in quad 1 games. So how can you put a team that is 0-3 in quad 1 games, 4-3 as an overall record, ahead of those mid-major programs? It sickens me to my stomach. If I could pour gasoline and burn the net rankings down already, and we're only into the first or second week into this crap, I would. But I can't. So I got to live with it. So just looking at the net rankings, just a little bit further, even if you go down the list, you mentioned the first mid-major, which is St. Mary's. St. Mary's should be higher than what they are because of the fact that they are a mid-major and getting punished for it, it hurts because, again, these big programs are not challenging these mid-major schools anymore. And if they are challenging mid-major schools, it's lower tier. As someone who played for a lower tier mid-major school at the time, it's not conducive to those programs anymore. So if we're going off the net rankings, and it looks like we're going to be able to go to the net rankings for the time being,
absolutely,
I think we need to look at a way to get these mid-majors more strength into playing these bigger programs. But the problem is the bigger programs are not going to do it. They're just not. So as a guy like me, if I went to a school like St. Mary's and I know we're a good program, I want to play against the better schools. I want to see how we measure up to these guys because of the fact that I know we're going to need these wins to solidify us getting into the tournament. And again, beating the dead horse with a drum. The big programs are not going to do it. They're just not.
All right. Mike, as our resident Power Force snob, what are you thinking about the net rankings? Because your Terps have a chance to slide in based on quality of opponent.
We played quality opponents, but we got destroyed by them. So I don't know about this year. Next year, Baba. All right. So normally I'm a net ranking guy, and I'm with you. Give me the analytics, give me the data. I'm a data guy normally. This year's different. This year has a chance to be one of the most fun college basketball tournaments because we've got superstars everywhere. This freshman class, mock draft, top 15 picks, 11 are freshmen. And the first, 8 picks, potentially freshmen. And they're all good. And for the 11, 10 are at different schools. So I don't care about the 12 versus I want Nate Ament going against Kingston Flemings. I want Cameron Boozer getting to go against Koa Pete. I want to see these guys going against each other in good matchups early in the tournament. There's so many good high school basketball players, and we've been complaining about college basketball, especially in this NIL era of not knowing, these teams. Maryland, I watched the games trying to learn the players' names because every guy's new. But now that we got star power spread out, Caleb Wilson and AJ and Darren Peterson, there's star power everywhere. That's what this tournament should be about. It shouldn't be about the 13th best team. I want to see these guys going against each other. So when the draft happens, it's like, oh, he went 4th, he went 6th, but he beat him in the tournament, that kind of stuff. This is going to be like old college basketball this year because we actually know the players, even though they're freshmen. Normally, it took years till we knew them.
Hold on. But, Mike, you got to think about this, though. If we're talking about old college basketball, what ruled the day when old college basketball was going on? Upsets. Mm-hmm. Your 13s beating your 4s. Your 12s beating your 5s. Your 10s beating your 7s. And where do you get those? Mid-major programs.
True.
So, unfortunately, and look, I'm with you. The star power is outrageous for the tournament this year as far as entertainment goes. You're getting names that you're going to want to see in the league playing in the tournament. It's just, I also know if we're going to go back to the old ways, you need to get your mid-majors involved. And mid-majors are trying to schedule these bigger programs to have better footing when the net rankings come out every week. Again, we'll go back to this and I'll keep beating this to the cows come home. I need these bigger programs to start challenging these mid-major schools. These top mid-major schools. Don't just go out and go get cupcakes anymore. If you really want to say you're one of the top programs, and yes, playing against other highly ranked schools helps. Playing against power schools helps. But if you really want to see where you are, play those mid-major programs. Then we'll get a good look to see where you are, especially when the tournament comes in.
All right. So, fans, when we get to segment 3, we're going to actually continue on with net rankings. We'll talk about how the quads work because Danny told you a little bit about the quads. I'm going to explain that to you. And we're also going to talk about the WNBA CBA negotiation and how housing is now in the mix. We'll be right back on the Odd Coaches Podcast.
Today's student athletes face pro-level challenges without pro-level support. The CKA SAVE project is here to change that. For 16 plus years, Dr. Keith Adams and his team have provided comprehensive academic and athletic support from middle school through post-graduation transitions. NIL guidance, transfer portal navigation, academic coaching, career planning, they've got it covered. The CKA Save Project. When your future is on the line, experience matters. Learn more at www.ckasaveproject.org.
Welcome back to the Odd Coaches Podcast. And in segment 3, I want to talk a little bit more about the net rankings in terms of the quad piece. And we also want to talk about the women's WNBA negotiations in terms of, hey, we've got some problems here. So here's how the quadrants work. The quadrants are defined by the opponent's net rankings at the time of the game and the location. A quad 1 win is the best win. So if you're at home and your opponent's net ranking is 1 to 30, that's a good win. If you're on a neutral site, it's 1 to 50. And if you're an away site, it's 1 to 75. Quad 2, your home opponent's net rankings in the 30s to the 70s. On a neutral site, it's 50 to 100. And on the away site, it's 76 to 135. Quad 3, at home, it's 76 to 160. Yeah, a lot of teams. Neutral site, 101 to 200, and away, 136 to 240. And finally, the worst is a quad 4 loss. Home, anything above 161. Neutral, anything above 201. And away, anything above 241. So why does that matter? It's about your resume. So if you get quality quad 1 wins and you avoid bad quad 3, quad 4 losses, that's how you get the at-large bid if you don't win your conference. So that's kind of how that piece works. And I wanted to let you know that. So let's get to the women's quad net rankings. UConn's 1, LSU's 2. Hey, Flo J, can we calm that down, please? You want to play on the Olympics long after this? Try not to irritate the coaches, okay? 3, Michigan. 4, Texas. 5, UCLA. And you talk about getting frozen out. Let's give you the women's mid-majors. Princeton is the highest ranked mid-major, and they're 32. And they're in the Ivy. Ain't taken but 68, okay? Richmond's in the A10. They're 36. South Dakota State, always the favorite of the OCP, is in the Summit Conference. They're 41. Davidson's in the A10. They're 44. And Fairfield, who's very good, by the way, is 48 in the MAAC. Okay? So, Danny, you watch a lot of women's basketball, which we love on the show, and that's why you're our basketball correspondent. This is a continuation of top-heavy women's basketball. Mid-majors have little to no chance of moving up. How do we feel about this, man?
I don't know. It's different because, again, like we said, that is one thing. Women's college basketball is very top heavy. If you don't go to a Power 4 school and you're not one of those powerhouse schools already in women's basketball, it's going to be hard for you to progress. I'm not saying it can't be done. It's just going to be difficult because it's almost like the mid majors, worse than on the men's side. Mid majors get frozen out completely. The mid majors just don't exist because even when they show the games on TV, because I'll be watching tomorrow, a lot of those women's players are playing against very fairly low competition, if not playing some of those highly ranked teams that they do on the men's side. They do it in November. So when you get those games like we did for the Players Era, or those rare 1 versus 2 matchups that we get every so often on the women's side, it's hard to factor in mid-majors because on the women's side, we're so focused on the power schools because that's where the intrigue lies. You want to see Dawn Staley take her South Carolina team and go up the stores and play Gino and UConn. You want to see Lauren Betts and UCLA travel across the country to take on Tennessee. You want to see Texas come up to, let's say, Iowa and play the Lady Hawkeyes. It's those big programs that they want to see. And it's okay for right now. Again, for right now. When the mid-majors start coming in and getting some of these better, higher recruits, because the recruits only want to go to those Power 4 schools, I think you'll see a shift. But the question is, when is that shift going to come? We don't know. So I'm looking at these net rankings fairly different than I do on the men's side because of the fact that we talk about star power on the men's side. There's been star power on the women's side for like the past, for as long as I can remember. We always remember the household names on the women's side. So just looking at, the women's net rankings, I pulled it up. I was just looking at, just see what else we're looking at. You got your usuals, UConn, LSU. Who intrigued you the most, just pulling it up, is Michigan. Michigan is playing lights out right now. And if they continue to do this, I don't see how somebody in the Big Ten is going to take them out. I would say USC, but as we know, USC, they're going to challenge them, but they're missing one piece. They're missing Juju at this point. No Juju. So no closer to really finish the game out. And I'm not saying that one girl, the second part piece to USC's team is gonna make a change. It's just right now, just looking at how things factor out, because there aren't many teams playing those high quad 1, quad 2 wins right now. Because even right now, you got UConn, they're 5-0 in quad 1 and quad 2 games combined. Same thing with Texas. So it's gonna be different to see that. Because even still, the same question I have for St. John's: how is Louisville so high in their rankings? Because they're 0-3 in quad 1 wins. And then you got a team like, let's just say, I don't know, Princeton. Princeton's 9-1. Princeton is 1-1 in quad 1 wins, and they're 3-0 in quad 2 wins. So Princeton should be higher on this list than I would say a Louisville right now. But because Louisville is playing in a Power 4 school, that factors in.
All right, Mike, you coach women's basketball. You got some budding young scholars coming up. What are you thinking about the net rankings from the women's side?
Oh, shout out Maryland, because they gave Princeton their only ranked game that they're going to get this year, and Maryland won by double digits but small. Solid game. Maryland's been playing pretty well, 10-0. It's just it's a hard thing, because when you're in these conferences where you're going to get 8 to 10 ranked games. Like, looking at Maryland's schedule, they're going to have 8 ranked games as of right now in conference. They got 1 that they already had. Now, they did play the best mid-major here, but, like, if you play too many and you got 8 ranked games coming your way, it's an easy way to have a tough ranking for the tournament, as we know, because of how top-heavy the women's basketball is. If you end up, like, in the 4-5 matchup, you're setting yourself up for a very short run, right? So you got to find that balance of, like, giving teams a shot, but also, what conference am I in? Because I'm going to get plenty of challenge.
Yes, and as Bayham would say, I'm not leaving New York until I have to. All right. So, gentlemen, the WNBA CBA negotiations are ongoing. There is an extension. Okay, they've agreed to extend until January 9th. But one of the things that I'd like to talk about, and I want to start with Mike King because he's my union guy, is housing. CBA negotiations have primarily centered on salary, structure, revenue. That's kind of what we talked about. But until this week, more details about the proposal came out, and the league proposed significant salary increases, including $1 million base salary for the highest players, a new compensation model, but it also proposed that teams would no longer provide housing for players. So, Mike, as you look at this and you look at the history of housing for players, what are you thinking from a negotiating side? Is that something that the players should fight about, or what are you thinking?
So housing for the WNBA is very important, because, like, you get traded and you got to be in a new city and find a new place to live, but you're making what the average player makes, around 100,000. That's not like get new house money, right? Like, so that's an important thing for the WNBA to have in the union agreement of, what kind of perks do we get there? I had to look it up compared to the NBA. NBA players, when they get traded, they get $6,000 a month for 3 months. It's pretty good. But WNBA, it's making 100,000 versus making the lowest is going to be in the millions. It's completely different. You need to have some level of guarantee all year round. So I think that's good. I think that perk should be improved upon. I know as teachers, if we switch schools, we get they pay us a couple hours where we can move our stuff. That's it.
They actually do, and we will fill the paperwork out to get that.
It's a nice little perk. I didn't know what happened. I changed schools. I was like, oh, wait, this is a thing? Ooh. I'll take a couple bucks. Forget housing. I'll take a couple bucks.
All right, Danny, you are the player. And for the last few weeks, and I appreciate this, you have been thrown into union negotiations at a level that you probably never thought you would be a part of. What are you thinking about the housing piece when it comes to the WNBA CBA negotiations?
I think that housing piece is very important. Just looking at the numbers, and Mike, you brought it up, and you made me look to see what it is. So think about this. As it's been reported, the minimum housing stipend is $1,177, which is paid for by the Aces. And the highest is $2,647, which is paid for by the Liberty. So think about that. That housing piece is important because, again, like you said, if I get traded and I don't make a lot of money in the WNBA as it is, can you imagine if I get traded to a team like New York and trying to pay for an apartment to stay in New York with the way rent is, and you're only paying me $100,000, and depending on what it is a month, that's not enough just to cover just rent alone in New York, let alone food, travel, whatever utilities come with getting an apartment in New York City. It's not going to cut it. So I think the players wanting to keep the housing aspect into the CBA, and the league is trying to get rid of it, that speaks volumes. So again, to avoid all that, pay me my money. Pay me so you don't have to worry about team stipends. Now, granted, you're still going to need it. But there are other factors into the CBA that I was looking into that kind of threw me off. Like the league wants to throw in a draft combine. How? The women's college game is over a couple weeks before you start training camp. So how are you going to set up a combine? Because let's say, for instance, your number one pick is in the championship game.
Which happens.
Which happens very often when they're in the WNBA. How are you going to be able to factor in getting her there unless y'all just straight up say, no, you don't have to come because we already know you're solidifying number one pick? That's fine. But if you still got questions and you want to see her come in, damn, she just got off the championship game. She needs time to rest and recover. So I don't know. There are a lot of aspects to this CBA that kind of opened my eye up. The housing factor was one of them, but the one that opened my eye up was the combine portion of it, because as a player, and we talk about these soft tissue injuries on the NBA side, you are gearing up for even more soft tissue injuries on the WNBA side because, again, college is over literally first weekend of April. You're talking about starting the combine process, and I'm not sure. I didn't see when the date was possibly going to be, but that combine is usually comes a couple weeks. It's going to be a couple weeks after the season's over in college and a couple weeks before the WNBA draft starts. So where in the factor does rest come into play?
It doesn't.
It doesn't in this situation. So I think,
and then there's something Mike said last year, Caitlin's rookie year. They top loaded the Indiana Fever games, and she had just completed a 30-game season in college, and yeah, she broke up. And then you get nothing in the postseason. So
it's they got to figure out a lot of things. Housing is going to be one. Well, housing is going to be two after salary. we know that's going to be the biggest talking point from now until the deadline in January. So they need to sit down and really have these discussions. Because they don't, again, we're getting closer and closer to wondering, is this going to be a work stoppage? Which in terms won't hurt the players because there are other options now for them to go to. So the sense of urgency is not on the players, it's on the league at this point.
All right, Mike, close us out as our union negotiator.
Get everything you can. Every penny you can. Make it so if you change schools, you give me a couple bucks. The WNBA deserves everything they can get. I'm for union guy. I'm for fighting for everything you can get.
Get everything you can. All right. So on behalf of our cavalcade of stars, I'm Dr. Keith Adams saying thank you for listening and or watching the Odd Coaches podcast, the authentic voice of sports leadership where coaching wisdom meets real talk. Also seen on the Cascade Sports Network, and we will see you on the sidelines. Until next time, take care.
We hope you enjoyed today's show. The Odd Coaches podcast drops new episodes every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Make sure you subscribe to the Odd Coaches podcast on YouTube, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Follow the Odd Coaches podcast on the X platform at Odd Coaches. Follow Dr. Keith Adams and the CKA Save Project on social media at CKA Save Project. For more information about the CKA Save Project, visit them on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org. See you next time on the Odd Coaches podcast.